Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to this special video series where we journey verse by verse through Surah Al-Baqarah, the longest chapter of the Qur'an, filled with divine wisdom, guidance, and life lessons. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Today we are covering verses 216 to 219. Let's begin. Verse 216. Prescribed fighting. Fighting has been enjoined upon you, while it is hateful to you. But perhaps you hate a thing, and it is good for you. And perhaps you love a thing, and it is bad for you. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows, while you know not. Explanation. This verse teaches that not all obligations are pleasant. Sometimes what we dislike holds hidden good, and what we love may bring harm. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the full picture. What this means for us: trust in divine wisdom. Submit even when the path is difficult. There is goodness in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's command. Verse 217. Fighting during sacred months. They ask you about fighting in the sacred month. Say, fighting therein is great sin, but averting people from the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and disbelief in Him and preventing access to Al-Masjid al-Haram and the expulsion of its people therefrom are greater evil in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And fitna is greater than killing, and they will not cease fighting you until they turn you back from your religion if they are able. And whoever of you reverts from his religion to disbelief and dies while he is a disbeliever, for those their deeds have become worthless in this world and the hereafter, and those are the companions of the fire. They will abide therein eternally. Explanation. Fighting in sacred months is grave, but disbelief, oppression, and blocking worship are worse. Apostasy nullifies good deeds and leads to hellfire. What this means for us: respect sacred times, but recognize the greater evil of injustice and disbelief. Remain firm in your faith under all circumstances. Verse 218. Reward for those who strive. Indeed, those who have believed and those who have emigrated and striven in the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those expect the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is forgiving and merciful. Explanation. Belief followed by action, especially striving and sacrifice, earns Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy. Hijrah and struggle are honored paths. What this means for us: combine faith with effort. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy is near for those who struggle sincerely. Verse 219. Alcohol and gambling. They ask you about wine and gambling. Say, in them is great sin, and yet some benefit for people, but their sin is greater than their benefit, and they ask you what they should spend. Say, the excess beyond needs. Thus Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes clear to you the verses of revelation that you might give thought. Explanation. Alcohol and gambling have some worldly attraction, but their harm outweighs all benefits. Charity should be from surplus wealth. What this means for us: avoid what harms your body and soul, even if it seems enjoyable. Spend what is beyond your need for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, if you're truly serious about your faith, make a sincere commitment. Follow this series from beginning to end. One verse at a time. One transformation at a time. Let's walk this journey together and bring the Quran into our hearts and lives. If you found this video beneficial, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with others and let the reward multiply. Like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss a verse, a reminder, a chance to grow. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.